Here comes the bride. Welcome back to the Flagrant Fridays podcast. I'm your host, Christian. With me today is our lucky bride, Nick.
Hello, hello.
And you see, it's true because I've seen you in a white dress.
Yeah, and everybody who follows the Instagram also has seen me in a white dress.
But all jokes aside, we come to you today with a newly married man, Nick, of course.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that just a little bit. Was it everything you had hoped for? Did it go bad? Did it go good?
It went pretty smoothly, I would say. There were some things that went wrong, and there was some things that went better than expected.
That's exactly how I would have assessed it as well. Uh, but yeah, it was a fun time. It was a great escape from all my schoolwork and stuff to just come down and enjoy it. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, except it'll be on your end of the spectrum, not on my end of the...
Hopefully. So today we are doing a deal or no deal special segment. Essentially what that is if you've seen the game show, I think it's still on TV, but I don't know if it's as popular as it used to be. Essentially, you get cases and you get to either keep the case you picked or you get to switch it. In our case, we are going to do NBA players. So each of us picked separately 6 players to put in a case for each position, point guard through center. The only rule was that it includes all-time players and that 3 of them have to be really good players and then 3 of them have to be either like borderline good or just straight up not good, kind of obscure, maybe bench players. So I don't know about you, but I tried to keep most of my obscure players people that are still like decent, but obviously they're not going to be your number one option. I don't know about you. Actually, I feel like I did a mix of both.
Yeah, mine is a little mixture of both as well.
So I don't know about you, but for the kind of bad players, I kind of did a good mix of 1 or 2 players are actually bad and the others like borderline, like they were a starter or something.
Mine were mainly role bench players or not your best starters.
Ooh, okay. That means that naturally I'm probably gonna have to trade a bit more. But anyways, so now we're gonna play it. Each of us is going to pick a number 1 through 6 for each position, and then we are either going to keep it or switch to a different case once it is revealed who is in the case. Now we have to choose our options carefully, and at the end we will compare teams, we will debate who we think is the better team, and then hopefully we'll get comments of who you guys think is the better team. I guess with that being said, let's start with my first point guard. So Nick, which number are you feeling for point guards?
Let's go with 4.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go with 2. Why not? Shooting guard.
I'm gonna go with 4. No, I just did 4. I want to
You
go
do 4,
with.
everyone.
I want to go with 2. Oh wait, you did 2. All right, I'll
It's
stick
fine.
with
No,
2.
no, no. Do if you want. And you can always change it later. All right. For mine, I am going to do. Let's go 1. I was thinking 3, but I'll go 1. All right. What do you want for your small forward?
I'll go with 6.
Okay. And by the way, for positions, did you have any players that played like multiple positions? I had a couple.
I had a couple that played multiple positions, but I put them at their primary position for this.
Okay. I think both of mine in that instance, I didn't put them in their primary position, but both of them were taller, I believe, than their primary position. So it's somewhat fair, I would say. All right. So for my small forward, I'm going to go 3.
My power forward, I'm gonna go with 1.
All right. For my power forward, I'm going to go with Giannis. So give me 5.
What's funny is I did have Giannis on the power forward list.
I was gonna go 4, but I switched it to 5. All right. Center, last one. Choose wisely.
I'm gonna go with. Let's go with 3.
Are you sure about that? Okay, that's fine. For my center, I'm gonna go with. There's only one number I haven't picked, but I'll go. No, I guess there's 2. I'll go 6. Why not?
All right.
All right. Let's reveal the players. For your point guard, you currently have Darius Garland.
It's not horrible, but I know there's better people out there. Your point guard is Derek Fisher.
Okay, definitely better options out there. Are we gonna switch now or at the end?
We can switch now.
Okay. I'm going to switch my case for number 3.
Number 3. Do you want me to reveal who it is?
Sure.
You got Mike Conley.
In his prime, definitely better than Derek Fisher, I would say, but not the best option. That's okay though. Would you like to switch Darius Garland?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go with number 5.
You have swapped Darius Garland for Magic Johnson.
Oh, let's go. So, do you want to reveal who our other players
Yeah,
were, like in each case?
yeah, we can do that.
So, in the first case was Ben Simmons. In the second case was Derek Fisher, like you already know. The third case was Mike Conley, like you already know.
You put all the bad ones first 3.
I did a random number generator to help me order them. Number 4 was Luca. Number 5 was Steph Curry, and number 6 was John Stockton.
Jeez, that sucks. But I don't think Mike Conley's the worst guy you could possibly get.
He's definitely a good role player.
And at least he has longevity. All right. For number 1, I had John Stockton. Number 2 was Jordan Poole. Number 3 was Dennis Schroeder. Number 4 was Darius Garland, like we said. 5 was Magic Johnson, and 6 was Tony Parker.
Okay. I like how we both did John Stockton.
And I forgot about Steph Curry somehow.
All right, your current shooting guard is Zach Levine.
Ooh, prime Zach Levine before he had a lot of potential. I feel like I have to swap him though. I'm gonna go 4.
Let's see who number 4 is. Oh, you're gonna love this one. Number 4 is MJ.
Hey, okay, nice. Is Mike Conley a good passer? I don't know, because he could team up well with MJ, I feel like.
He's a pretty good passer, I would say.
Okay. Your shooting guard, number 2, is currently another Bulls legend, Steve Kerr.
That's a pretty decent player for. He's really good at threes. I want to switch, but at the same time, I have a feeling I'm going to get somebody like, I don't know, Marcus Smart.
I mean, I think he only averaged maybe 8 points a game or something like that.
I'm going to
He is a
swap
good three-point
for.
shooter, but he just didn't really get used much.
I'm going to swap for 5 or no 6. I already swapped for 5.
There's nothing stopping you again. All right, number 6, Iman Shumpert.
Oh, jeez. So we both have our mid player.
So, number 1, Klay Thompson. Number 2, Steve Kerr. Number 3, James Harden. Number 4, Dwayne Wade. Number 5, who you almost switched to, J.R. Smith.
I feel like he's a little better than Iman Shumpert.
I would agree. Prime JR was kind of a beast.
So for number 1 was Zach Levine, of course. Number 2 was Marcus Smart. Number 3 was Anthony Edwards. Number 4 was MJ. Number 5 was Mikal Bridges. And number 6 was Kobe.
Honestly, I couldn't really go wrong with any of those. Like Zach Levine was probably the worst, but I would have been somewhat happy with all of them. All right, small forward. Who I got?
Small forward, you currently have Brandon Ingram.
Okay, he's pretty decent. He fell off maybe a little bit, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he's probably not the best that you have on that list. I already have MJ, so I don't necessarily need scoring. He's a decent three-point shooter. But in theory, I could get someone a little better at three-point shooting. Let's swap it for 1. Why not? I might regret this, but that's okay.
For number 1, you got Rui Hachimura.
Okay. I would say currently, that's actually maybe an upgrade. Actually, according to their stats, it's not an upgrade. He scores about 10 less points. And actually, although Rui's three-point percentage is better. So honestly, I'm not that upset because like I said, I don't really need a scorer. I needed like 3 points. And so I would say Rui gave that to me. He has a 44% three-point percentage this season. All right, your small forward, number 6, is Rick Fox.
Oh, wow.
I gave you a Laker.
Not horrible. Rick Fox and Derek Fisher out there. Uh, let's go ahead and switch to number three.
Number 3 is Larry Bird.
Hey, we got an upgrade.
I don't know how well he translates in today's NBA, but I would say overall an upgrade.
Both had Larry Bird.
So the small forwards you missed out on was number 1, Kawhi Leonard, number 2, Jimmy Butler, number 3, Larry Bird, obviously, number 4, Scottie Pippen, number 5, I have Nick Young. He played shooting guard and small forward, and then Rick Fox was 6.
I would have liked to have Kawhi Leonard for that defense.
Yeah.
For your small forwards, number one, obviously Rui Hachimura. Number two was LeBron. Number three was Brandon Ingram. Number four was KD. Number five was Larry Bird. And number six was Cam Johnson.
Dang. I would have liked to have Kevin Durant for that three-point shooting and actually just overall scoring.
Yeah, that clutch play.
But that's okay. I mean, LeBron, you can't go wrong with LeBron either. I don't know if he plays well with MJ, though. Power forward. Who do I got?
Power forward, you currently have Dirk Nowitzki.
Ooh. I'm not a huge Dirk fan, but I would like a little bit more three-point shooting. And Michael Jordan's a pretty good defender, so I feel like I can get away with letting my center be a defender. So you know what? I'm gonna keep Dirk.
Oh, you're going to keep Dirk. I was waiting for you to say I'm going to trade up.
Yeah, it's too risky. I'd rather keep the three-point shooting and get a center that can defend. Your power forward currently, number 1 is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, all right. I'll keep you honest.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. So who did I miss out on?
Your number one was also Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Okay. I can't say that I would have switched to him necessarily. I feel like my team needs a bit more three-point shooting.
Number two, I have Jeremy Grant. Number
Okay.
three, Tim Duncan. Number
Yeah.
four, oh,
No. No, I mean, not much to say about that. I feel like Dirk is a little bit more useful though in a team full of other stars. You can just throw him at the wing and just hit some threes.
number four was Jonathan Kaminga. Number five was obviously Dirk, and number six was Anthony Davis.
Okay. I'm not too upset about not switching there. So number 2 was Kevin Love. Number 3 was Tim Duncan. Number 4 was Kevin Garnett. Number 5 was Blake Griffin. And number 6 was Detlef Schrempf. He played small forward and power forward.
Honestly, I don't think you really gave me a horrible one there.
Nope. All right, who's my center? Hopefully someone defensive.
So for your center, you currently have Kristaps Porzingis.
Oh gosh. That doesn't really give me the defense I'm looking for, and he is a defensive liability. Now, had I switched Dirk for someone a bit more defensive, maybe I would have kept him. But yeah, I have to switch him. I'm gonna go 3.
Switch from Kristaps Porzingis to Zach Edey.
Uh,
He was good in college.
I mean, he's young. In theory, I might be able to develop him. His defense is decent. So that's not necessarily a loss, but it's a bit early to say. Does he even get minutes?
I have no idea. He just popped up on my mind and I put him
He
there.
has 11 games played, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist. 11 rebounds in 11 games? Pretty good. Averaging 11 rebounds. Okay, I mean, there's room to work with, I feel like. Your center, number 3, is someone we all know and love, Shaquille O'Neal.
Nice. I'll stay with Shaq. Love that interior defense for Zach Edey.
Your team doesn't have a lot of three-point shooting, are you sure?
I got Larry Bird and Iman Shumpert.
Is Iman a three-point shooter?
I thought so.
33.7% career three-point percentage.
Not bad.
Well, let's see who you missed out on. Number 1, Larry Nance Jr. Number 2, Victor Wembanyama. Number 3 was Shaq, obviously. Number 4, Anderson Varejao. Number 5, Patrick Ewing. And number 6, James Wiseman.
So really, Wemby would be the only one that would have impacted my three-point shooting.
Yeah.
So your options were number one, Shaq. Number two, Bobby Portis. Number three, Zach Edey, obviously. Number four was Wemby. Number five was Jokic. And number six was Kristaps Porzingis.
All right, so the final teams. I have Mike Conley, Michael Jordan, Rui Hachimura, Dirk Nowitzki, and Zach Edey. And Nick has Magic Johnson, Iman Shumpert, Larry Bird, Giannis, and Shaq.
You got the mics going over there.
Yeah, I noticed that. I would say overall your team's better, probably harder to guard. But I could see my team when they're not playing against your team potentially having a better regular season record. Like I could see them working together better than your team.
Yeah, but they play against each other. Lakers in 5.
But to be honest, Magic and Shaq alone is a pretty deadly combo.
Just having Magic Johnson at the point is pretty good for height and facilitation.
Yeah,
And Larry and Magic on the same team.
I think you pretty clearly won this. But let us know in the comments. Someone's gonna say Michael Jordan would win just because of his mentality, his Mamba mentality.
What?
I don't know. Anyways, let's move on to everyone's favorite segment, Ball in Order. Brendan Sorsby, who is under NCAA investigation for making bets via gambling app, has retained the noted lawyer Jeffrey Kessler to try to regain his college eligibility. If Sorsby and Kessler are unsuccessful, declaring for the NFL's supplemental draft would be an option. Sorsby would have until June 30th to declare for the supplemental draft. One thing to note is that there hasn't been a supplemental draft since 2019. And do you know the reason behind the 2019 one?
Um, I don't remember who it was. Let me look it up. It was for safety Jalen Thompson from Washington State. Um, it doesn't say why he was in the supplemental draft, but some reasons for supplemental draft is where his instance, the scandal, and then other ones would be like if Trinidad Chambliss didn't get his figured out before the draft, they would have a supplement draft for him, stuff like that.
And how does that work? Does that replace the player they drafted?
So if they draft a player, they take the equivalent draft pick from next year from them.
So, like a first round?
In 2019, it said they took away a fifth round pick from the Cardinals.
I see.
So I don't know
So
if it
like where
depends on
they're
how they perform.
so it's like where they're projected to go probably.
Probably.
But that means teams like the Seahawks would have an advantage because they could get like a first round pick, lose it next year, and then if they win the Super Bowl back to back, they don't really lose that much because it was a bad draft position anyways.
Right.
But it's probably overall fair because this is such a rare instance. It's not like the number one overall pick is gonna go through a supplemental draft, most likely.
And then, speaking of quarterbacks, Minnesota's quarterback Drake Lindsay was arrested early Friday in Arkansas and accused of underage possession of alcohol and possession of fake identification. According to a preliminary report from the Fayetteville Police Department, an officer was alerted by staff at the Yeehog Bar shortly after midnight about a possible fake identification document. Staff directed a police officer to Lindsay, who was 20 years old, who admitted to having the fake identification and to consuming alcohol before arriving at the bar. Drake Lindsay was then taken to the Washington County Detention Center. A copy of the fake ID was discovered in his wallet. Lindsay signed a form for a minor in possession of alcohol, attempted use of fraudulent or altered ID documents. He was released about 7 hours later after posting a $470 bond, and he has a hearing set for June 1st and 29th in Fayetteville District Court.
Yeah, we're about to see if the team does any repercussions or anything.
Last time a starting quarterback did this was Baker Mayfield, and he won the Heisman right afterward.
So you're saying we should bet on this guy to win the Heisman?
Yeah. Bet on him to win the Heisman. Wait, don't bet on him. We just said not to bet like a couple episodes. Don't do betting.
A follow-up on some previous Ball in Order a couple weeks ago. DK Metcalf will not face criminal charges stemming from his altercation with a fan at Ford Field during the Steelers' December game against the Detroit Lions. According to a statement provided to the Detroit Free Press, the fan, Ryan Kennedy, did not appear to be injured, nor did he seek medical attention at the game. Uh, Kennedy is suing Metcalf, among others, for making defamatory and life-altering statements. Former NFL players Chad Johnson and Shannon Sharp are included in that lawsuit for publicly suggesting Metcalf's actions were motivated by Kennedy using racist language. That lawsuit remains ongoing. Metcalf was suspended 2 games without pay for the incident, forfeiting more than $500,000 in game checks and voiding his $45 million in guarantees.
Yeah, so you'd think that DK Metcalf could almost countersue him for not getting those guarantees and that in-game check.
Right, but he did hit him either way. So the NFL is going to hold him accountable nonetheless, whether there were injuries or not. I could see that defamation lawsuit, uh, like I could see that guy winning that though against Chad Johnson and Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing because um, they didn't know that information. They just went out on a limb and said it. Sticking with NFL wide receivers, we have an update on Stephon Diggs. He was found not guilty on Tuesday of assaulting his private chef in a pay dispute. Uh, he pled not guilty in February to a felony strangulation charge and a misdemeanor assault and battery charge stemming from the alleged dispute. The trial lasted only 2 days, where the acquittal clears a path for Diggs to return to the field, but he still could face disciplinary action from the NFL. NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy said that we have been monitoring all developments in the matter, which remains under review of the personal conduct policy. A little bit about the case. His chief of staff, his massage therapist, a nurse who provided IV treatments, and his hairstylist all testified that they saw Adams around the time of the alleged attack and that she said nothing about being assaulted. His hairstylist also testified that she spent time with Adams in New York in the days after the alleged incident and did not notice any injuries. She said that Adams appeared normal and that she did not see marks on Adams' neck or elsewhere. The defense attorneys also showed jurors cell phone videos of Adams socializing, including clips of her in a car listening to music and dancing, which they suggested showed her demeanor in the days following the incident.
And now we're going to move on to the college football segment. We only have one bit of news today. It has been announced by Utah State that Bobby Wagner's number will be retired. Congratulations to him, a Seahawks legend, one of the greatest middle linebackers the game has ever seen.
Yeah, I actually saw he just got some kind of degree from there too, not too long ago.
I don't know how good he was in college, but I would have to assume pretty decent. Although he was part of that Seahawks F grade draft class, so maybe he went late. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. That was after I started watching,
So
or before I
that just
started
goes
watching.
to show that draft grades are highly subjective, and you really don't know until time presents itself.
Now we will be moving on to the NFL segment. We've got some signings and retirements. So Calais Campbell is signing a one-year deal with the Ravens. He'll be playing in his 19th season, so he'll be around one more year.
And Tyrod Taylor is signing with the Packers. I actually, he's one of my favorite players, like favorite lesser known players, because, and actually we talked about this in our favorite sports player episode. That was probably like episode 2, maybe. It was early on, maybe even episode 1. Uh, the reason is because he was the fastest running quarterback, or at least one of the fastest in Madden for a couple years. So I would put him in and QB scramble. I love a good scrambling quarterback in Madden.
Dante Fowler Jr. is signing a one-year deal worth up to $5 million with the Seahawks.
And the Colts declined Anthony Richardson's 5th-year option for 2027. He will become an unrestricted free agent now. And lastly, Justin Simmons announced his retirement after 9 years in the NFL.
Then our last bit of news for the NFL. The Seahawks are moving second-year wide receiver Tyrone Broden to cornerback. The position switch is expected to be an experiment with Broden, who stands at 6'5". He would become the tallest cornerback in the NFL. He surpassed his previous height leaders, Tariq Woolen and Bengals third-round pick Tacario Davis. He went undrafted in 2025 and was uh, picked up last season by the Seahawks for their practice squad. So I guess we'll see how that pans out now that they've lost Tariq Woolen and Kobe Bryant and them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a risky thing, especially with how tall he is, but I did see he has a really fast 40-yard dash time. So his height might not actually hold him back. It might even be an advantage to some extent. And if you don't remember, I believe, was it Tariq was originally a wide receiver and they were converted?
I don't remember.
I don't remember if it was Tariq, but some other Seahawks corner was converted at some point and it panned out pretty well. So if anyone can do it, it seems like the Seahawks could. So I guess we'll have to see how it goes. Worst case scenario, he probably sits on the bench and it probably doesn't affect us much.
Moving on to our NBA segment.
Pretty eventful playoffs so far.
Yeah, starting off with the playoffs. So currently, last week we saw the Lakers beat the Rockets to move on to the semifinals. The Timberwolves took down the Nuggets. Another surprise as Anthony Edwards was out. The Celtics lost in game 7 against the 76ers. Another shocker there. The Pistons pulled a major comeback on the Magic, where they were down 3-1 and they won in game 7 to advance to the semifinals as well. And the Cavs game also went to 7 games and they advanced.
Yeah, I was shocked how many games went to game 7.
I guess it just shows how competitive this year's playoffs is.
That and some of the teams like the Pistons had a really rocky start, but they seem to be kind of locked in now, which we will talk about right now. They are currently up 1-0 against the Cavs. So it seems like maybe they finally found their footing. And the Knicks lead the 76ers 1-0. They won pretty dominantly. I think it was like an 18-point win. And the Thunder lead the Lakers 1-0. And the Timberwolves lead the Spurs 1-0. I saw that Austin Reeves is struggling lately.
Yeah, he was like 0 for 8 or something from 3.
Yeah, and this is right before he's about to get his max contract extension or whatever. So I would not be surprised if they end up trading him. I mean, he probably holds pretty decent trade value.
Yeah, I saw somebody say that Luka's injury saved the Lakers from signing him to a max contract.
But for some reason, he just struggles in the playoffs. He's great in the regular season.
Moving on to some other news in the NBA, we will be back to playoff news. Cooper Flag becomes the first player to win Gatorade, Naismith, and NBA Rookie of the Year in a 3-year span.
Nice. And the Knicks had the largest playoff halftime lead of all time. The score was 83-36 at the end of the first half against the Hawks. This was in Game 7, mind you. The Knicks also set a franchise record for points in a playoff game, finishing the game 140-89. This is tied for the fifth highest point differential in a playoff game. They also had the largest lead at any point of an NBA playoff game, with 61 points. The score at one point in the game, at 8:19 in the third, was 101 Knicks to the Atlanta Hawks 40. The Hawks had a lot of kind of crazy buzzer beaters and stuff, so going into this game 7, people were nervous, but man, they just fell apart.
Like they had a chance to beat the Knicks for the longest time. And then Game 7 hit, and they decided, what's basketball?
What is basketball? That's a very philosophical question, Nick.
Uh, so basketball is a sport played with a ball and a net,
Is
and
it
you
still
use your
basketball
hands.
without a net?
No.
So anytime we go to a park, it's just not basketball we're doing?
Oh, I guess you need a hoop.
Fair enough.
A hoop and a net is preferred.
And not a double rim.
Double rim, please. And then in other news, the Magic scored 19 points in the second half of Game 6, which was the fewest in any half by a team in playoff history. They set the record with 23 straight misses. They went nearly an hour of real time between made baskets. And during that time, The Pistons erased a 24-point lead, which was the largest comeback in the play-by-play era for them since 1997 to 1998 to force Game 7, which we know now that the Pistons won. And the Pistons also won Game 7, like I said, 116 to 94 to overcome the 3-1 series deficit.
Yeah, for a while there, they had me believing they were going to beat Detroit. Admittedly, Detroit was kind of playing a little worse than usual, but the Magic were looking like a legit threat, but they just really struggled in Game 7.
Paulo Banchero was the only factor that they were able to stay in that Game 7, or even that series in general. He played good, and so did the rest of the Magic.
In other news, the 76ers survived the Celtics and rally for 109 to 100 Game 7 win. They, if you remember, the Celtics were up 3-1 in a best of 7 deficit. This is the first time the 76ers has overcome a 3-1 deficit in the playoffs in franchise history. It's also Joel Embiid's first ever Game 7 victory. If you remember, he's went through quite a bit of heartbreak in Game 7s.
Yep. Kawhi Leonard helped with that. And then the NBA has fined Jaylen Brown $50,000 for his comments criticizing the referees during a live stream after Game 7 and the series lost in the first round against the 76ers. So he was upset after that game, but it is what it is.
And Jarrett Allen had 22 points and 19 rebounds, while Donovan Mitchell had 22 points in their Game 7 win over the Raptors. They ended up winning that game 114 to 102. This is the team's fifth straight Game 7 win. So unlike the 76ers, they are actually Game 7 merchants.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the playoffs. So Nikola Jokic in the first round beat a 42 win team. This was in their championship year. You beat a 45 win team in the second round, conference finals 43 win team, NBA finals 44 win team. He has not beat a 50 win team in the playoffs so far. He is currently 0-6 against 50 plus win teams in the playoffs.
Right. But I would say that says less about him and more about his team's peak. I think you give him a couple good other options and they're making deeper runs for sure.
To put this into perspective, the last valid NBA champion, according to this Nikola Jokic stuff, was the Warriors in 2022, where they beat three teams with over 100 or over 50 wins. Denver won in 2023. They didn't have a single win over a 50 win team. Boston and OKC also didn't.
See, but this stat is kind of subjective because in order for there to be teams with over 50 wins, it means the NBA overall probably has to be kind of equal in mid, right? Because if you have a season where you're setting almost the record, like going 73 and 9 or whatever, 60 plus wins, then naturally other teams are going to have less wins. So it's harder for them to actually be 50 win teams. So in some sense, this stat is more saying congrats, you won against when the NBA was most either competitive or mid. There's arguments for both. In other news, something kind of freaky happened. In the Magic versus Pistons playoff series this year, they actually repeated history. You see, in 2003, the number one seed Pistons also played the eighth seed Magic, and the outcomes of the games were virtually identical. In game one, the Magic won. In game two, the Pistons won. In game three and four, the Magic won. And then in games five, six, and seven, the Pistons ended up winning. And this happened in 2003 as well as this year in exactly that order. So each game, 1 through 7, was won by the exact same team in both years. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, almost like it's scripted. In other news, uh, the Lakers' Game 6 win versus the Rockets puts LeBron James at 188 career playoff wins, which surpassed the Bulls' franchise playoff wins with 187. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is and it isn't. The Bulls really haven't been to that many playoffs since or before MJ. So to some extent, it is kind of peaked lower than other teams. But the fact that LeBron has won that many playoff games himself, not even as a franchise, is worth noting, and it's impressive.
So they've had zero in the 2020s, one in the 2015, 2011 they had one, 2007 they had a series win. Yeah,
So not much.
not a whole lot. They've got three series wins since 2007.
And in other news, Victor Wembanyama broke the playoff block record with 12 blocks in a game. However, they still lost that game to the Timberwolves 104 to 102, so a very close game. Wemby said that he probably shouldn't have made some of the choices he did offensively. I believe he ended the game with like 11 points. However, the game started off hot. Wembanyama got a block, followed by Rudy Gobert getting a block, followed by Wemby getting another block. So they both just went down the court, and it was 3 blocks total, which is kind of a crazy way to start the game.
I saw some people saying that a lot of those blocks were goaltending or fouls. I didn't see every block, but I did see a couple that were debatable because his hand hit the arm or something, or his hand hit the glass.
Right. Well, you can hit their hands.
Yeah, but he hit their forearm in the video I saw.
Fair enough. And, it's hard to catch that in the moment.
But still impressive nonetheless.
And you know what's not impressive?
James
This
Harden?
next stat. Yeah. James Harden has had 43 turnovers in 8 games this postseason. That's over 5 turnovers a game.
Yeah, this guy probably shouldn't be handling your balls.
But unfortunately, he puts up decent points. So it's a weird situation of do I let this guy handle the ball or not?
In some signing news and releasing news, the Orlando Magic have dismissed head coach Jamal Mosley. His tenure in Orlando finishes after 5 seasons, including three consecutive playoff runs, and they had first round eliminations in each of those 3 years.
And the Dallas Mavericks are hiring Masai Ujiri as the franchise's new team president and alternate governor. He ran the Toronto Raptors from 2013 to 2025.
And the Detroit Pistons have signed coach JB Bickerstaff to a contract extension.
And the Chicago Bulls are hiring Atlanta Hawks senior vice president Bryson Graham as the franchise's new executive vice president of basketball operations. Graham spent 15 years in New Orleans before joining Atlanta last offseason, rising from an intern to a GM and now becoming the Bulls' top executive.
And the last bit of coaching news, Portland is expected to move on from coach Tiago Splitter due to Portland's new owner not wanting to increase his salary. The Trailblazers are instead looking for a coach willing to be lowest paid in the league. Well, that's one way to go from a playoff team to a first round team or a first pick team.
And we have one injury update. Jared Vanderbilt has sustained a full dislocation of his right pinky finger. I saw a clip of it. I didn't get to actually see the hand, but the player's reaction on the bench made it sound like it was pretty bad.
I actually saw an update on Luca that he could potentially be returning for game 3 against the Thunder. He's been running and practicing stuff, but he hasn't been cleared for full practice or whatever.
And now we're going to move on to the miscellaneous segment. Man, we're flying through today's episode. Not a lot to cover, though. That's okay. So we have a Stanley Cup update. So the Colorado Avalanche are up 2-0 against the Minnesota Wild. And the Vegas Golden Knights are 1-0, up 1-0 against the Anaheim Ducks. And the Buffalo Sabres, not the Bison, are up 0 0
Are up 0-0.
tied 0-0 with the Montreal Canadiens, not the Canucks. And the Carolina Hurricanes are up 2-0 against the Philadelphia Flyers, not the Jazz. You see, I'm
I,
learning.
I thought you were going to say Philadelphia Eagles for a minute.
Relearning or listening to me talk about the playoffs in last episode while I was editing was hilarious. I got a big laugh out of it.
In some other news, John Hall has become the president of basketball operations at Howard University, returning to Washington, D.C. to partner with the top ranked HBCU program in the country.
That's actually pretty cool. Good for him. Plus, president of basketball is a pretty cool title.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
basketball operations, but
I'll
you
never be that, but it's cool.
never know. Never say never. The Kentucky Derby was pretty eventful. Golden Tempo, ridden by Jose Ortiz, delivered one of the most dramatic comebacks in Kentucky Derby history, going from dead last at one point in the race to first place to win the 152nd running of the Kentucky Derby. And Sherry DeVoe, don't know how to say her name, became the first female trainer to ever win the Kentucky Derby. So yeah, pretty eventful. I did see a video about the Kentucky Derby. It sounds like it's kind of changing and their business model is changing to keep up with that, in that it's really horse racing as a whole is kind of dying. There's not a lot of horse breeders left, and there's still like controversies about the ways in which they treat the horses. But it is more of like an event now with like fashion and drinking and stuff. So it seems like they are adjusting accordingly so that way they can still make a profit, for better or for worse. I did see a fun fact though that I think all but one of the horses are related genetically because of breeding and stuff to the horse with the record at the Kentucky Derby, which happened,
Secretary?
I don't know, I think that
Yeah, the
happened
secretary.
in like the 80s. Maybe the reason no one's beaten the record is because they haven't been bold enough to try a different horse breed.
They haven't been bold enough to try another horse besides Secretariat.
Basically. And so we have an update on Tottenham. We've been talking about them the last couple weeks. They actually won again. They've won 2 weeks in a row. They won 2-0 against Aston Villa, and Brentford beat West Ham 3-0. So now Tottenham is officially out of the relegation zone with, I believe, 2 games left in the season, maybe 3. And so if everything goes well, they will just barely avoid relegation. What a historic comeback. Ever since we started covering it, they started playing well again.
So they are avoiding relegation or they're almost avoiding?
They are currently by 1 point.
Moving on to some hockey. Again, the Montreal Canadiens won Game 7 with just 9 goals shot. And they won 2-1. No winning team has shot fewer in any game of the expansion era since 1967.
They must have pretty good defense then. And lastly, I don't know if this is still current, but pretty recently, Shohei Ohtani had these stats on the mound this season: 30 innings pitched, 17 hits allowed, .6 ERA, and 34 strikeouts. So, yeah, definitely a Cy Young contender. Some people are arguing that if he really wants to win that award, he should stop hitting, but it would be really cool to see if he could win that and MVP. I looked it up. It's happened, I think, 11 times, so it's not like super rare, but certainly no pitcher that's ever won MVP and the Cy Young also is hitting to the levels of Shohei.
I looked at the current record for most strikeouts in a season, and he's not even close. 513, so he's got to pick up the pace a little bit.
Well, he's only pitched 30 innings, so he's not getting a lot of pitching time currently.
I've noticed a lot more starters are not pitching into the seventh inning this year.
Well, I mean, it's to conserve them. There's a reason that there's like 10 plus pitchers on a roster compared to every other position. But yeah, that's about it for this episode. As always, thank you guys for listening. A reminder to let us know in the comments which deal or no deal team you think won, and we will see you again next week.
See you later.